Okay, if you don't have any questions, I'll quickly create, okay, Windows virtual machine, and I will install Internet Information Services, okay, web server. So as I mentioned that how to create virtual machines, just search for virtual machines. So you're able to see my screen, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Click on create Azure virtual machine. Okay, so as I mentioned, right, we have to provide subscription and a resource group. Subscription is for billing purpose, resource group is for consolidation, a group of related resources. Okay, so I don't have any resource group. So, this is like quick creation. Okay, if I click on create new, it is just asking me provide a resource group name. I am providing my resource group name. Okay, by default, this resource group will create in East US region. Okay, this is like a quick creation of resource group. Or if you want to manually create resource groups, just search for resource groups. Here, click on create. Okay, again, we have to provide subscription. See, basically, I'm just providing resource group name. Okay, if I provide resource group name, by default, it will create in this subscription and in this region. Okay, these are like default options. Okay, if I want, I can create resource group anywhere. Okay, it's based upon project requirement. So, okay, I created the resource group. Okay, at present, I don't have any resources. Okay, in this resource group. Now, go to virtual missions, click on create Azure virtual mission. Now I already have resource groups. Okay, so I'm selecting this resource group Apache. So app VM region, I want to create this virtual machine in East US. Okay, so I'm selecting East US. Available to options at present, I'm selecting no infrastructure readiness required. Security, I'm going with the default option at present. Image, I want virtual machine with Windows Server operating system. Okay, so I'm selecting this latest Windows Server operating system. Okay, size, I want 2 vCPUs and 4 GB memory. So we have to provide credentials so that using these credentials, we can connect to that virtual machine. Okay. And these things, okay, related to network, same things you can see here. Okay. And if you see here disks, we'll discuss later. Okay. See what's happening in the backend is I'm creating a virtual machine. Okay. This virtual machine is going to create on top of a physical server, which is part of a data center in East US region. Okay, this is the first point. And second point, I'm creating this virtual machine. Okay, so from my laptop, I want to access this virtual machine. Okay, so to access this virtual machine, first of all, this virtual machine needs to be part of a network. So at present, I don't have any network. So that's the reason if you observe this tab, in this tab, it will create one network. Okay, first it will create network. In that network, it will create subnets. Okay, those things we'll discuss later, but these are like dependency resources. Okay, to access a virtual machine, it needs to be part of a network, and this virtual machine needs to have IP addresses. With the help of IP addresses only, we can connect to that virtual machine. At the same time, it will create one network security group. It's like a lightweight firewall. Okay, in this group you can find rules. Okay, what what traffic can enter into this virtual machine and what traffic can go out of this virtual machine. So these are all the things. Okay, if you see this diagram, okay, so I'm creating virtual machine. Okay, but to access this virtual machine needs to be part of a network. So in the backend, it will create network. Okay. At the same time, it will create one network interface and it will attach that interface to this virtual machine. Okay. And this interface will get IP addresses from that network. That means simply we are getting IP addresses for our virtual machine. Okay. And it will create one disk and attach the disk to our virtual machine, and it will create network security group. Okay. See, if you consider your laptop also, okay. So from your laptop, you are getting internet, right? How you are getting internet? First of all, your laptop will connect to Wi-Fi router. Okay. Whenever your laptop connected to Wi-Fi router, okay, that means your laptop will be part of a internal network. Okay. There will be some range, okay, 192 dot some range. Okay. If you see here, whenever I connect to Wi-Fi, immediately for my laptop, I will get one private IP. Okay. If you see here, this is the IP address, okay, assigned to my laptop. Okay. And there will, these are like a network default gateway. We have network ranges. Okay. This is the network. Okay. Based upon subnet, we will discuss all these things. Okay. These are all basics of a network. We'll discuss all these things while discussing about networking. Okay. Same thing happens with this virtual machine also. Okay. I'm just giving you a hint, okay? These are all the dependency resources, and we will discuss about each resource in our later classes, okay? But just remember, whenever I'm creating a virtual machine, in the backend, it will create one network interface, disk, okay? And network security group. So those things you can find in disks. Here you can find that whatever the disk is going to create for our virtual machine. Here in this tab, you can find all the network details, okay? If you see here, it is creating network, it is creating one network security group. In that network security group, it is writing one rule. Okay, why? Because again, from my laptop, okay, I want to connect to this virtual machine. Okay, so in this virtual machine, there is one service called RDP service. Okay, remote desktop service. Okay, this service will allow us to connect to this virtual machine. Okay, this service listens requests on port 3389. Okay, at present, just remember, port is like a channel. Okay, this this service listens requests on this channel 3389. Okay, but if you observe, we have one NSG. Okay, this NSG is at present won't allow any connections. Okay, there will be few default rules. Okay, in the default rules, there will not be any rule to allow traffic on 3389. Okay, this channel. So from my laptop, okay, if I try to connect to this virtual machine, that request will go to this channel, okay, this port, and this port, if we have any rule in NSG, then only it will allow connections. Okay, it will allow this laptop to connect to this virtual machine, or else it won't allow to connect to this virtual machine. So that's the reason whenever if I select these options, okay, by default it is allowing. Okay, I'm not selecting any option. Okay, by default, it is selecting one port 3389. That means whenever I'm creating a virtual machine, by default, it will write one rule to allow traffic on 3389 because it is Windows virtual machine. To connect to Windows virtual machine in NSG, 3389 port needs to be opened. Okay. Again, I will discuss these points in networking. Okay. But I'm just giving an hint like, okay, what is this default option 3389? Okay. I'm not touching any other options. Okay. Management at present not touching monitoring advanced tags review plus create. Create. Okay, you can see here, okay, what's happening in the backend. Okay. Whatever we discussed, right? Those resources will create now, like network interface, one public IP address, disk, network security group, and virtual machine. Okay. See, these are all created. Like it created virtual network interface, network security group, and one public IP address for our virtual machine. And now it is creating virtual machine. Okay, meanwhile, I will create the Linux based virtual machine. I think it already created. Okay, if you go to resource group, so if you see here within fraction of minutes, we created virtual machine in East US region. Okay, if we don't have this public cloud concept, if I want to create a virtual machine in East US, okay, why I'm creating virtual machine? Because I want to run an application on this virtual machine so that users can access my application. Okay, so if I want to run any application in East US region, if I don't have this public cloud concept, what I have to do? I have to buy one physical server. Okay, I have to keep that physical server in a building that is nothing but a data center. I have to install virtualization software on that physical server. Okay, after that, I have to buy required operating system licenses, and using this virtualization software, I have to create a virtual machine and I have to install virtual operating system software on that virtual machine. Okay, then only I can install, deploy my application, run my application on this virtual machine. Okay. Here within fraction of minutes, we are creating virtual machine. Here, if I want to go with private cloud, this is nothing but like a private cloud. Okay. That means our own data center and our own physical servers. If this is the case, I have to invest nearly 50 lakhs and it will take nearly 2 to 3 months time. Okay. So that is the reason nowadays everyone is going with public cloud because of the time constraints, at the same time flexibility. Okay, here no need to invest anything. Okay, we are just paying for that virtual machine what we are using. Here we have to invest. Okay, we have to take care about operational costs. Okay, everything we have to take care. So you can find all the details, okay, related to this virtual machine, which resource group it belongs to, what is the status, location, and everything. Okay, now how to connect to this virtual machine? As I mentioned, right, you can click on connect. Okay, download RDP file. So this is the RDP file. Click on, double click on that RDP file, connect. So provide the password. Okay, with the help of public API. Okay, this is the public API. With the help of public API, I am connecting to that virtual machine. So I connected to that virtual machine. Okay. Now in this virtual machine, okay, I can run whatever application I want. Okay. I will install web server. See what is web server? If you see here, I want to run an application in that virtual machine. Okay. If I want to run an application in this virtual machine, okay, we need some kind of software. Okay. That is nothing but like a web server. In simple terms, we can also, for Windows, it's like Internet Information Services is a web server. This web server will help us to host web applications. Okay, to host web applications, we need Internet Information Services. See, suppose again, I want to create databases in this virtual machine. Okay, inside databases, I want to create tables. If I want to create databases tables, I need one database software. Okay, we have multiple database softwares like SQL Server, Oracle, MSSQ, MySQL, like that. Okay, similar concept. Okay, in this virtual machine, if I want to run or host any applications, I need web server. Okay, for Windows, Internet Information Services is the web server. Okay, so how to install internet information services? By default, okay, we have one thing called server manager. Okay, you can open, by default it will open, or you can type here server manager. Okay, open server manager. If you go to add roles and features, okay, by default Windows operating system is providing multiple roles and features. Okay, if you go to next next, so these are all like multiple roles and features. Okay, it's completely depend upon your requirement. Okay, if you want to install web server in this virtual machine, you can select that particular role. Okay, similarly, if you want to install any DNS related DNS or DHCP server, okay, in this virtual machine, you can select that role. Okay, if I want this virtual machine to be act as like a active directory server, I can select this role. Okay, like that virtual, by default Windows server operating system providing these roles. Okay, it's completely depend upon requirement, whatever role you need. At present in this virtual machine, I want to run an application. So to run an application, I need a web server, so I am selecting web server. So add features, click on next. Okay, these are all like dependent features for web server. Next, 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 install. Okay, that means I'm installing web server in this Windows Server virtual machine, so that with the help of that web server, I can host applications. Okay, you can find web. Internet Information Services is a web server software package developed by Microsoft for hosting and serving websites, applications, and other web content on Windows Server. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay. If you see here, I have installed web server in this virtual machine. Okay, web server successfully installed on this virtual machine. So how to check whether web server successfully installed on this virtual machine or not? If you go to this virtual machine, again you have a public IP for this virtual machine. See, now I have my virtual machine. In this virtual machine, we installed web server. Okay, web server listens requests on port 80. Okay, how RDP service listens requests on port 3389. Okay, web server listens requests on port 80 and port 443. Okay, if it is like a HTTP request, it listens on port 80. If it is like a HTTPS request, it listens on port 443. Okay, now I have my virtual machine. Okay, if I open web browser, okay, in general, if web browser, it will have either HTTP or HTTPS. Okay, if I send a HTTP request,
Hi,
it will
sir.
listen on port 80. Okay, if I send a HTTPS request, it listens on port 443. Okay, HTTP is like unsecured, HTTPS is like secured. So we install web server in this virtual machine. Okay, how to send request to this web server? Okay, if I try to browse this public IP, copy the public IP of this virtual machine. Okay, I'm sending a request. Okay, to the web server installed in this virtual machine. If you copy this one, so see same HTTP request. Okay, even though I didn't append any HTTP, since it's a web request, right? So it will automatically append HTTP. Okay. So I'm not getting any response. Okay. Even though we installed web server in this virtual machine, I'm not getting any response. Why? Because as I mentioned, right, we have one NSG, network security group. Okay. I will quickly open that network security group. If you go to network settings, so this is the network security group. Okay. App VM NSG. So as I mentioned, right, by default, it will have few inbound security roles and outbound security rules. Okay. At the same time, it already have one rule. Okay. While creating virtual machine, it's already selecting that rule 3389. So that is this rule. Okay. It already created one rule to allow traffic on port 3389. Okay, source any, destination any. Okay, anyway, we'll discuss about this NSG. Okay, at the time of networking classes. Okay, so at present my goal is to access that web application. Okay, web server. Okay, to get response from that web server, I need to write one rule to allow traffic on port 80. Okay, I'll quickly add that rule. Okay, with the default options, okay, I will add that rule. Okay, if you go to inbound security rules, click on add. I'm just selecting HTTP. Okay, so I added one rule to allow traffic on port 80. Now, if I try to send request, okay, see now I'm able to see default homepage of the web server. Okay, at present we don't have any application running on that web server. So that is the reason at present it is sending its default homepage. Okay, so this is my virtual machine, right? Whenever once I install that web server in this virtual machine, in C folder, it will automatically create one folder inetpub. In inetpub, it will create www root. Okay. In www root, we already have one default HTML page. Okay. IIS start. So at present, I don't have any application in this web server. So it is showing this default homepage. Okay. If I open this default homepage, okay. So this is the default homepage. Okay, at present this is showing this default homepage. Okay, whenever I try to hit that public IP of that virtual machine. Okay, suppose if I have any application in this location, if I have any application here, it will show that application. Okay, similarly, I will click create Linux based virtual machine and even and install web server, okay, related to Linux server operating system. Okay, so if you go to virtual machines, click on create. So I am providing the subscription resource group. I'm giving name as like app VM Linux, region East US. Coming to availability options, at present I'm selecting no infrastructure NSA required. I'm going with the default security option. Okay, coming to image, I'm selecting Ubuntu server. Okay, I'm going with x64 size. So this time yesterday we saw right how to connect to Linux virtual machine with the help of password. Today I will go with the SSH public key. Okay, so we have to provide username. So here generate new key pair. See what is public key in the sense previously we are connecting to that virtual machine with the help of username and password. Okay, now we can connect to this virtual machine with the help of keys. Okay, that means whenever I click on generate new key pair, it will create two keys. Okay, public key and private key. Okay, so public key will be stored in that virtual machine and private key will be stored in my laptop. So whenever I try to connect, okay, both will have relation, this public and private key. Since both will have relation, using this private key, okay, they will authenticate, okay, this private key and public key have some relation. So it will allow my laptop to connect to this virtual machine. Okay, that's how they will connect with the help of keys. Public key will be stored in the virtual machine, private key will be stored in our laptop. With the help of this private key, we can connect to this virtual machine. So I'm clicking on generate new key pair. I'm just giving the key pair name. Here again, by default, it is selecting port 22. Okay, that means for each and every virtual machine, whenever I'm creating virtual machine, by default for that virtual machine, it will create one NSG. Okay, in that NSG, we are going to have three default inbound rules, three default outbound rules. Okay, so same thing in this. This is Linux based virtual machine. So in Linux based virtual machine, like Windows, in Linux, we have SSH service, okay, to allow connections to this virtual machine. That means to connect to this Linux based virtual machine, there will be one service called SSH service that listens requests on port 22. Okay. Similarly, for Windows, we have RDP service, listens requests on port 3389. Similarly, for Linux, we have SSH service listens requests on port 22. Okay, so I selected Linux based operating system. So that's the reason by default it is it is writing one rule to allow traffic on port 22. Okay, these things okay we'll discuss in networking, but I'm just discussing about the basic options. Okay, what is SSH, what is 22? Okay, and at the same time, okay, I want to install internet. Okay, I want to install web server in this virtual machine. Okay, web server listens requests on port 80 and 443. Since we are sending HTTP requests, it listens a request on port 80. At the same time, in this virtual machine, I want to access this virtual machine. Okay, that means in this virtual machine at present, by default, there will be SSH service. Okay, web server we have to manually install. Okay, web server listens on port 80, SSH listens on port 22. By default, it is adding port 22. If I want, I can add here itself. Okay, I can select HTTP port. Okay, so what will happen if I select a HTTP port 80? See here, inbound port rules. Okay. So what this option is, as I mentioned, right, it will create one NSG. Okay. It's like a lightweight firewall. Okay. It will contain rules. Okay. NSG is nothing but a rules. What those rules will define what traffic can enter into that virtual machine and what traffic can go out from that virtual machine. Okay. So if you see here, I'm selecting by default, they gave us three ports. Okay. Mostly used ports like port 80, port 443, and port 22. If I select these two, okay, it will write two rules. Okay, if you see here, the name itself stating inbound port rules. Okay, it will add two rules. One rule to allow traffic on port 22, second rule to allow traffic on port 80. Okay, that's the meaning of this inbound port rules. Okay, in detail, we'll discuss while discussing about networking. So I'm just selecting port 80 and port 22 here itself. Okay, by default, port 22 automatically selected because why we are creating this virtual machine? To connect to this virtual machine. To connect, we need port 22 be allowed. So that's the reason by default it is allowing port 22. Okay, and I know in this virtual machine I'm going to install web server. So that's the reason I manually selected this port 80. Okay, I can do like this, or I can go to NSG. There I can create a rule to allow traffic on port 80. Okay, both are same. So I'm not touching any other options. In the back end, if it already have network, it will consider that network. Okay, these things we'll discuss later. Okay, so review plus create. So it is asking us to download private key and create a resource, because as I mentioned, right, we need private key to connect to that virtual machine. So if you see here, it's not providing private key. Okay, it will provide PEM file. Okay, it's not directly providing private key. It is providing PEM file. Using this PEM file, we have to generate private key. And using that private key, we can connect to that virtual machine. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, I will copy that PEM file. Okay, to different folder. Okay, I copied that file. Okay, PEM file. Okay, this is the PEM file. You can see the date. Okay, from downloads to this Azure trainings folder. Now with the help of this PEM file, we have to generate private key. Okay, so how to generate private key with the help of PEM file? We have one thing called PuttyGen. Okay, whenever I install Putty, automatically this PuttyGen tool will automatically install. Okay, no need to install it separately. So just open this PuttyGen tool, click on load. Okay, click on all files, select that PEM file. Okay. So this is the key. Okay, click on save private. Save. Okay, now I have the private key. Okay, we have public key in that virtual machine, and I have private key in my laptop. We'll see whether yes, virtual machine got created. Okay, now how to connect to this virtual machine with the help of keys? Same thing. Copy the public IP of this virtual machine. Open party tool. Okay, provide the public IP here. 15.82.7.49. Okay, previously we just click on open. Okay, there we provided username and password. Now we don't have this is a different type of authentication. Okay, instead of providing password, we have to connect with the help of keys. Okay, so go to SSH, go to path, go to credentials. Here, browse private key. So this is my private key. Open. Now open. Accept. Okay, we have to provide username and no need to provide any password. Okay, it is authenticating with the help of private key. Okay, see, I connected to this virtual machine. Okay, this is how we are going to connect Linux based virtual machines with the help of keys. Okay, now see, for Windows, as I mentioned, right, Internet Information Services is the web server for Windows-based virtual machines. For Linux-based virtual machines, the most popular web server is like Nginx. Okay, so how to install Nginx in this Linux-based virtual machine? Okay, mostly okay. First of all, we have to run this command. Okay, sudo apt get update. Okay. Basically everything is like a repositories. Okay, in Linux everything is like a repository, it's like packages. Okay, if you see here, okay, there will be multiple packages. Okay, we can based upon our requirement, okay, these packages will be in, suppose think one xyz location. Okay, and there will be versions for each and every package. Okay, similarly in Linux operating system there will be one location. Okay, in this location it will have that all the information. Okay, so and so A package, this is the version, B package, this is the version, okay, C package and this is the version, and you have to download from so and so link. From this package you have to download from so and so link. For this package, this is the latest version, this is the version number, and this is the link you have to download for that package. Okay, like that in Linux virtual machine we have one location where we can find all this information. Okay, whenever I run sudo apt get update, what it will do, immediately it will check what is the latest package version. Okay, and it will update that latest package version here. Okay, that's the meaning of sudo apt get update. So what is the advantage if I want to install nginx web server? Okay, no need to go to that main source location to check the exact current version. Okay, it will automatically check here itself. Okay, this is the latest version and this is the location, this is the place where you want to download that package. Okay, it will automatically check here in local repository and it will install that particular package. Okay, that's the advantage of sudo apt get update. It will update that local package repository. So now I updated the local package repository sudo apt get update. Now I want to install nginx. So to install nginx, the command is sudo apt get install Nginx. Okay, Nginx is the web server for Linux-based operating systems. It is asking confirmation as. Okay, now successfully Nginx installed on this virtual machine. How to check? Same thing. We will send one web request. Okay, using browser, I'm sending one web request to that virtual machine. Okay, in that virtual machine, Nginx successfully installed. At the same time, we already opened port 80. Okay, if I go to NSG, okay, we already have one rule to allow traffic on port 80 because while creating the virtual machine itself, I selected this port. So whenever I select this port, it will automatically add one rule, okay, in inbound port rules. So that is the reason it is sending the default homepage of Nginx web server. Okay, if I have any application on that virtual machine, okay, in that web server, it will show that application. At present, I don't have any application. Okay, I just have the default homepage. So it is showing the default homepage. Okay, that's how we are going to install web servers. Okay, in Windows and Linux based virtual machines. Okay. So any questions? Tomorrow we'll discuss about disks, okay? From tomorrow onwards, disks. After that, we will see multiple options related to virtual machines. So any questions, let me know. We can discuss now. I will quickly show you, okay, how to create Azure free account.
In one resource group, how many VMs we can create?
See, that's depend upon, okay, if you go with free subscription, okay, if you go to subscription, here we have usage plus quotas, okay. It's not like a resource group, it's like region wise, okay. In a particular region, okay, in particular east-west region, suppose think I created one resource group, okay. In that resource group, okay, I want to create 10 virtual machines in east-west, okay. So at present, use only 10 vCPUs. That means I can create 10 virtual machines, but each virtual machine I can give only one vCPU. Or I can create 5 virtual machines with each virtual machine 2 vCPUs. That means in resource group, in east to west, if I want to create virtual machines, I can create 10 virtual machines if I want. But for each virtual machine, I can give one vCPU. That means more than 10 vCPUs I can't use in each case. Say in under same resource group, I can create few more virtual machines. That means I have 10 more vCPUs option. Okay. That means again I can create 10 virtual machines. Each virtual machine can have one vCPU. Okay, so there will be no limit. Okay, it's completely depend upon this usage quota. Okay, if I overcome all this quota, it's not possible for me to create virtual machine on any resource group. Okay, not only single resource group. I hope you got answer for that question.
Yes.
Okay, see, basically for you the for free subscription, the limit is like 4 vCPUs. That means in a resource group, okay, suppose you are creating, you want to create virtual machines in each to s, okay, that virtual machine you gave 2 vCPUs, so remaining is 2 vCPUs. That means you can create only 2 virtual machines. Okay, again again us you can create 2 more virtual machines. Okay, suppose if you create virtual machine with 4 vCPUs, that means in east us you can create only one virtual machine. In west us you can create only one virtual machine. Like that in each region, that too they will allow you to create only in few regions because it's a free subscription, right? Okay, so that is the reason. Suppose in east us if you already created one virtual machine with 4 vCPUs, and if you're trying to create one more virtual machine, it will throw an error because you already used your quota. Okay, that thing you have to check here. Okay, so that's the reason. Okay, in our classes we are suggesting you to create virtual machines with 2 vCPUs so that you can create one more virtual machine, okay, for practice purpose, again with 2 vCPUs in each US. If you are getting an issue, you can choose another region, west US.
Okay.
Again, this quotas also, okay, we can check with Microsoft. Okay, if I want to create more virtual machines, okay, in each US, if I want more vCPUs in that particular region, I can check with Microsoft. Okay, they will increase that quota. So, any other questions?
Sir, so I have a doubt that for the resource groups, each and every virtual machine, we have like the resource groups, right? But For the combination of virtual machines, do we have some resource groups? This particular resource group has been used by all the virtual machines. Anything like that is possible?
No, if you see here, if I open for those two virtual machines, I selected app RG, right? While creating virtual machine app VM and app VM Linux, I selected this app RG. Okay, resource group. So if I open this resource group, I can find all resources. Okay, see what you are saying. You want this app VM and app VM2. Okay, needs to be part of one resource group, something like app VM RG, right? You want to keep all virtual machines in one resource group. Okay, that's your question, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, see, these are like automatically created. Okay, I'm just creating virtual machine. Okay, whenever I'm creating virtual machine, these resources are automatically creating. That means even though you have one resource group, okay, like app VM RG, you are trying to create one VM like app VM3. Okay, Y- so while creating this virtual machine, you selected this resource group. Okay, so in this resource group, your intention is only app VM3 will be in this resource group. But along with this app VM3, we need dependent resources. Okay, so these resources will be also in this resource group. Okay, see, people won't keep like that. Okay, not like that. Like as you mentioned, right? Only all VMs in one resource group. That's not the purpose of resource group. Okay, resource group purpose is to group all related resources. Okay, if you see here, these are all related resources under one resource group. Similarly, these are all related resources under one resource group. Okay, that is the main intention. Okay, without these dependent resources, no use of this resource. Okay, app PM. For your question, okay, the answer is no. Okay, if I want this resource, I need to have this dependent resource. Okay, without this dependent resource, I can't use this resource. Okay, so any other questions? Yes, try to go through all these videos. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, we have our WhatsApp group, right? You can post in our WhatsApp group. Okay, and I will show you, okay, how to create Azure free account. See, just type like Azure free account. If you click on start free, see, for me it is asking my password. Okay, but for you it will show you like create account. Okay, just provide your Gmail ID. After that, you have to provide all the information like where you are from, what is your first name, last name, email address, phone number. Okay. After providing all this personal information, it will ask your credit card details. Okay. Mostly they will mention like they will accept both credit and debit cards, but most of the scenarios, they will accept only credit cards. Okay, I'm not sure whether they are accepting debit also. Okay, you have to provide your credit card details. Okay, they won't charge you anything. Okay, maybe they will charge 1 or 2 rupees, that's it. Okay, until and unless you upgrade your subscription. Okay, there will be one option like upgrade here. Okay, after 30 days you can find one option upgrade. Until and unless you click on upgrade, again after clicking on upgrade, again it will ask your credit card details. Okay, once you confirm, then only it will convert from pay as you go to upgrade. Okay, so no need to worry. Okay, just provide your credit card details. After providing credit card details, click on confirm. Okay, it will automatically redirect you to one Azure free account like this, portal.azure.com with your account name. Okay, you can see if you click on this notifications icon, you can see like $200 credit. Okay. Let me know, okay, if you face any issues while creating this Azure free account. Okay. If you already used your credit card to create free account, then it won't allow because you already used it, right? That too, if you already used, suppose now you have new credit card, okay, you want to create an account, but you are using same laptop, okay, where you used your old account to create your account. Okay, again in that scenario also it won't allow. Okay, you have to use another laptop, new laptop with new credit card. Okay, there will be multiple scenarios. Okay, every month they are changing those scenarios. So if it is your first time using that credit card and using that laptop, it will allow you to create an account. Okay, or else, see, anyway you are trying to plan your career in Azure, right? So you can take pay as you go also, no issues. Okay, that means based upon your usage every month you have to pay. Okay, if you use properly, the monthly amount is, it will be like less than 500, less than 1000. Okay, if you create resources and if you forgot to delete resources, then you have to pay more. So that's the reason you have to be careful with pay as you go. Okay, if you are careful, then no issues. Okay, if you go to cost analysis, if it is not allowing you to create free subscription, then go for pay as you go. Okay, but you have to be cautious. Okay, once we are done with your labs, you have to delete the resources. Okay, so go to invoices, you can find my invoices. Okay, it's completely depend upon usage. Okay, for first month like 150 rupees, second month 2000. I think it's last month. Okay, last month I got only 150 rupees because last month we don't have any classes. Okay, you can see here. Okay, it's based upon usage. Okay, few months I got 3500, and few months like below 100 and below 1000. Okay, it's completely depend upon how you are using. Okay, so that's the reason I recommend after classes go to resource groups, open the resource group. In this resource group you can find all resources you created. Okay, instead of deleting individual resources, just simply click on delete resource group, delete entire resource group, copy the resource group name, click on delete. Okay, similarly as I mentioned, right, whenever we create a virtual machine, automatically this resource group will create in the back end. Okay, just delete this resource group also. Okay, that's it. Then no need to pay. Okay, additional charge. I use it for 1 hour, all these resources. So I have to pay for 1 hour. That means hardly below 20 rupees, I think so. Okay, because for 1 hour virtual machine charge is like 4 rupees. And we have other dependent resources, right? For the dependent resources, there will be like minimal charge. Okay. So try to create free account today. Okay. Any issues, let me know. Okay. Tomorrow onwards, we'll discuss about disks.
Okay.
Okay, then. If you don't have any questions, I think we are good to close for today.
Hi, sir. Sir, I've been joined late for 20 minutes. So today we have started with this Linux-based virtual machine, sir. Actually, instead of
Sorry.
this, today we have started with Linux-based virtual machine, sir.
No, we created one Windows virtual machine. In that virtual machine, we installed Internet Information Services. Again, we created one Linux-based virtual machine, okay, with the help of keys and installed web server Nginx. Okay, these are the two things we discussed today.
Okay.
Okay, just go through that video. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thanks everyone.